All right, welcome to Pan-Pacific Nature Journaling. It's so great to see your faces. Yeah, I see lots of familiar faces, and if you are new to nature journaling, we are going to walk through some simple steps on how to start observing nature. So before I introduce my co-hosts, I'm going to ask everyone to go down to the bottom of your computer, and if you're on a computer, there should be a little box that says chat. You might have to expand your screen if it's small. And there's a little speech bubble. Click on that and then type in what your city and your country is, and type in one color that you saw this week in nature that that caught your attention. So you can think about that for a moment and type that in. And I will do the same too. And then go ahead and take a look and see who else is here. All right, if you're just hopping in, go on over to the chat and let us know what city and country you are zooming in from and some color that caught your attention this week. All right, so I'm just gonna head on over and everyone just kind of like scroll down and take a look. We've got folks from California, Idaho. So we've got a bunch of people from across the United States. Texas is here. We have Perth, Australia, Winters, California, several more California, Arizona, let's see, Australia, Japan, Wakayama, Japan, Oregon, Colorado, New Hampshire, way across the United States. Welcome, everyone. So if you are just hopping in, go on over to the chat and put in your name and where you are, what country and city you're in, and a color that has caught your attention this week. All right, well, I want to welcome you to our second meeting together. We are nature journaling across the Pacific Ocean. So my friends I have here are co-hosts Bethan Burton and Eriko Kobayashi. So we are going to each do a little bit of introduction today. So our format is, we're going to do we'll do some announcements first, nature journaling related announcements, and then we'll do our theme of high and low this afternoon or this evening or morning, wherever you are. And then we're going to share with you some ways that you can incorporate this theme into your nature journal today. And then we'll have about an hour to go into your nearby nature, explore, do some journaling, and then come back and share with us what you've discovered. And I'm so looking forward to seeing what kind of extraordinary, well, even ordinary things, right, are extraordinary depending on your perspective from across the Pacific. So announcements. I know Bethan probably wants to announce an event that's coming up in June. Are you ready to share a little bit about that, Bethan?
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you so much for being here. This is just so cool to see faces, familiar faces and new faces, and to know everyone's out there across the Pacific. And that is relevant because there is an event that I have started last year. It's happening again in June 1st to the 7th. It will be International Nature Journaling Week. And so that's really relevant to this crowd because we are here sharing nature journals across the world. So you can go to naturejournalingweek.com and you'll get all the details for that event. And I'd love for you to be part of it.
Okay, great. There is also a nature journaling conference coming in June. It's called the Wild Wonder Nature Journaling Conference, and registration just opened. So you can find more information about that. I think I'm going to ask one of our local friends here, maybe Nicole, would you mind finding that link and then adding it to our chat for us? or one of our friends. This is a really great nature journaling conference, and that'll all be recorded. So if you don't get a chance to visit it live, you'll see a whole list of wonderful teachers that will going to be teaching about different topics. So that'll be a fun way to expand your ability to nature journal. And Eriko, did you have any nature journaling announcements for your area?
No, I don't have any.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
I have one. Is that okay, Melinda?
Yeah, sure.
I'll put it in the chat and I hope people can see it. I just have a Facebook link next weekend, Pacific time. Did it go in? Yeah. JP Panther, Marley Pfeiffer, and I are going to be on the Great Valley Nature Journal with Brian Higginbotham, talking about watercolor and landscape ethos. So does it say Pacific time? Can you see the link?
We see the Facebook link, so we can go there
Okay.
and check that out.
Yeah, so anybody's welcome, even if it's 2 in the morning.
Okay, all right. So I think we're gonna hop on over to why we are here. Bethan, would you like to share why we have started these Pan-Pacific journal clubs, or journal sessions, I should say?
Yeah, so Melinda and I met not so long ago, maybe 6 months ago. It was after the last Wild Wonder conference, in fact, and we just formed this friendship. And it was a friendship that was formed through a shared love of nature and nature journaling. And we've never met in real life. And it doesn't matter because we have this strong connection and strong friendship. And we wanted to spread that feeling, and we wanted to share with other people, bring other people into this beautiful thing, this beautiful idea of sharing across the world. And we had the idea that we would, because nature journaling, sharing is wonderful, and yet half the world is asleep at one particular moment in time. And so we thought we could gather those around the Pacific because we were all awake at the same time. And we wanted to have this moment where we could come together and celebrate what was amazing about our nearby nature that we have maybe become habituated to, and share it with other people. Because when you share what's normal to you, it can be surprising and astonishing to other people. And when you see that through someone else's eyes, when you start to see, oh, that thing that I thought was very ordinary isn't ordinary to someone else, it sparks within you that feeling like you can begin to look at it in a new way. So we wanted to do this because we want to remind ourselves that our ordinary is extraordinary, and we want to share it with other people across the world. And we want to see what's out there, see what other people see, learn more about nature across the world, so we don't just stay in our own little bubbles. And yeah, just connect and share and celebrate. That's really it, isn't it?
All right. Thank you so much, Bethan. I think that anytime we have opportunities to meet with each other and get to see perspectives from people that aren't in our neighborhood, it really widens our world, right? So thank you so much. All right. I think we're going to dive into our theme for today. So we are going to do some warm-ups first, actually along that theme of looking high, middle view, and low, so that we're expanding our view of nature, not just like, our eye level view, but like we're really going to be expanding above and below what we normally look at. So we're going to do this from the ground up. So we're going to start out with Bethan, and she's going to start us out with some warm-up. So everyone grab your writing tool and a piece of paper or your journal, and here we go.
Okay. All right. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Desktop. Okay, Melinda, can you see my desktop?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Share.
I think it's coming
Okay.
on now.
Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So the theme of look high, look low. I've been putting out some nature journal prompts each week, and this was one of them. And I really love it because I find myself getting habituated again to looking at the same thing on the same level. And I always tend to do leaves and things that I can sort of, that are sort of the size that I can hold in my hand. And so this shakes that up. I love nature journal prompts that shake up the shake up your normal pattern. And so what I'm going to do today is continuous line drawing. So I found this mushroom in my garden, and I'm going to do a few minutes of continuous line drawing. So that means drawing without taking your pen off. You can look at the page, you can look at wherever you want to, but keep the one thing to do is keep your pen on the page. So I'm going to start over here. I'm going to start at this side of the page, and we'll just go for a couple of minutes doing a continual line drawing. And when I do this, I tend to sort of fall into the habit that we often do, which is to be doing a blind contour. Like even though it's a continuous line drawing, I quite often find myself just naturally falling into blind contour at the same time, which is totally fine. And I'm going around this mushroom, and it's got all these flaky things on the top. I would love to know more about mushroom ID. I'm not good at it. Well, I haven't actually focused on it. I do want to get a nice fungus guidebook and see what I can find, because there's quite a lot of fungus popping up at the moment. We have had so much rain. So can you see what I'm doing? I'm trying to capture all these little bits of flaky top. And because I've tasked myself with not taking my pen off, I'm just going around them, and it's turning out a little funky, but that's what I like about it. Yeah, we've had so much rain lately. I'm going around this third mushroom, and I'm going to actually come into the center and do those flaky parts. And when the rain stops, just this explosion of mushrooms happen all through the garden. I'm coming under that mushroom. There's a little green leaf there. And I'm going to come down here. I'm going to move my page. Look, I still haven't taken my pen off. I'm going down to do this little guy down here. And I'm sort of, like I said, doing blind contour and continuous line drawing at the same time. And later on, I might add some color. It's really fun to add color to simple warm-up sketches, and they turn out really fun, really loose and free. And I really like to add color later, but for now I'm just doing this continuous line drawing. You can do continuous line drawing portraits or self-portraits, and that's really fun too, because you get to a point where you want to go into the nose or up to the eye, and you have to just make your pen go there, and it turns out quite funky, but I like it. So I'm going to stop in a second. We'll swap pictures. So there's my continuous line drawing of some mushrooms in my garden. I'm going to go and put some color in that later. But for now, let's swap to something else. I'm going to try. Ooh, okay. Let's try this. It'll be a challenge. This is something I was interested in, finding things on the ground that we could fiddle with. So let's try another continuous line drawing of these pine cones. I'm going to start with the far left pine cone, and I'm going to go quickly because this could take forever, but keeping my pen on the page and trying to capture something about that pine cone by just keeping my pen moving. Again, these exercises are just for fun. They're not for making an accurate representation of anything, but just getting to know what's on the ground. What does that look like when you quick capture in your journal? I'm going up and up, capturing all these little bits and bobs. And I know that my hand is covering up what I'm doing. Let me see if I can move a little. Keeping the pen stuck to the page. Now I'm going to scoot over here. There's some pine needles. I'm just going to go up and down to represent these pine needles. And I'm going to do this one up the top, which is sort of on its side, a different sort of angle. And I am doing sort of like blind contour drawing again. I think pine cones are so fun, whether you're doing it like this or whether you are accurately representing each little part of it. There's so much to learn from pine cones. I have this big pine tree in the back of my place, and I was noticing, actually, because of Melinda's bird course, I was noticing that birds love this pine tree because it's got some bare branches up the top, and it's like their little viewing platform. I'm going now to this little green thing over here, and I was watching birds in this pine tree and how they have this little viewing place at the top of this bare tree. And then I realized that this tree is actually dying. The top leaves are thinning and thinning and thinning and starting to turn brown. And I don't know why a pine tree would just up and die like that, but it'll be interesting. And another interesting mystery to document in the nature journal. So I'm going to stop there. But so those are my two continuous line drawings. This is my mushrooms, this is my pine cones, and I think I will add some color later. I think that's really fun. Melinda, do you want me to do another one, or do you want me to pass it over to you guys? I can't hear you. You're muted.
All right, let's see. Yeah, let's see if Eriko has her pictures ready to do the middle range.
Let me
Eriko, you're going to need to turn off the audio for one of your devices if you're using two devices. And Bethan, I think you can stop sharing your screen and then we can.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to find Zoom. I seem to have lost it. I've got the little. Can you override me? Because I can't seem to find it.
I think Eriko can share and it'll just replace.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah, there we go.
I will share my
Thank you.
screen.
So Eriko is has the Japan Nature Journal.
See it, right? I'm in trouble. Okay, I'm going to walk you through middle range. Oh, I'd like to know how many folks learning Japanese here.
Yeah, you could just type in the chat if you are learning to speak Japanese. There's any Japanese speakers here today.
Because I'm going to speak Japanese as well when through instructions. So you see, I can see the chat. Nobody?
Yeah, Nicole says skoshi. A little bit.
Skoshi.
Yeah, I think that we can understand
Okay.
because art will transcend language. Or
Okay.
nature journaling, I should say.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna demonstrate what I found yesterday at my eye level. I'm gonna do eye level, which means middle range. It's dark, right? You see, okay, it's dark, great. Okay, this is a KB. Akebi no hana desu ne. If there's interesting fruits in autumn, it's flowering now. We're gonna just continue growing as Rayton did. It has male flower and female flower. Can you tell which is which? Not good at line control. The flower doesn't have nectar and it smells like fresh grapes. Thickness is strong. And the leaf has 5 leaflets. And it's a vein. You see this big flower? This is a female flower. And the small ones, they are male flowers. お花にオスとメスがあるんですね。大きい方がメス、奥の小さい方がオスのお花です。
Eriko has a helper today, right?
Yeah, the insects come to eat pollen. It is said insects might have confused for stamen and pistil when they come to eat pollen. The male when they come to eat pollen on male flowers. And that's how they pollinate it. Some people make basket from this grain. このツルの植物なんですけれど、ツルでバスケットを作ったりします。じゃあ次の行きましょうかね。The next one. This is called ヤツデ。English name is Japanese Erisia. Yatsude means 8 fingers. This is evergreen. It said 8 fingers that leaves us 7 or leave 9 leaves, not 8. What's this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 9. It said 8 is lucky number for Japanese because it said Rico yesterday. So we'll continue drawing again. It has big leaves, sometimes 60 centimeters long, wide. 大きさが60センチぐらいになったりします。大きな葉っぱです。And it has another name, 天狗のハウチは Tengu is translated long-nosed goblin that has a tongue. They are a type of supernatural being or mountain spirit. The face like this. Some areas treat them as yokai, supernatural being that leading people to bad luck. But on the contrary, some areas that image a god up in the mountain. And yesterday looks like a pan that Ting has. It's a pan. And it's just and this tree treat as a lucky tree, and it brings you money. If you're planting in front of your house or shop.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you, Erica. I love the little story too. That's so cool. So this leaf was called Tengu no Hachiwa. And what Hachiwa ne?
Uchiwa.
Kuchiwa. Kuchiwa.
Uchiwa fan. Uchiwa
Oh,
fan.
Uchiwa for
Yes.
fan.
Yes.
Got it. Tengu no
Yes.
Uchiwa. Tengu is the supernatural being and Uchiwa is fan.
Yes.
All right. That's so cool. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, I'm going to hop over and I'm going to do the high level, like looking up high, and we're going to do a couple of contour sketches. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And if someone can tell me, are you seeing my image and my nature journal? Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, we're gonna, my styles is pretty quick. I like to just like warm up and get my brain and my hand working together. When I work with my students, I always talk about the contour drawings or anything that we do with these warm-ups are really brain training, right? So it's not, you don't have to worry about the finished product. So what I'm gonna do is, often when I do this sky, I'll kind of give a frame, and I'm going to do what I see. I'm just going to do the whole thing in this square, and I'm just going to go kind of quickly. Like this is something that I've gotten comfortable over time. 2 years ago, I wouldn't even touch clouds. So what we're going to do is you're going to use your eye, just like we did with the mushrooms and the leaves. Your eye is going to go around these little cloud shapes, and your hand is going to copy what your eye is doing. And I'm just going to start over here, and this could be, actually, let's try this continuous line. I haven't really thought about that, but we'll just kind of make these shapes. We're paying attention to how these clouds are formed. Oh, I ran out of room, but I really want to do this cloud. So I'm going to give myself permission to go outside the box. I love how this one looks like a feather. And if I think about this as I'm just looking at the shape with my eye, and my hand is following the directions and just continuing to sketch out what I'm seeing and not worrying about what's going on the page. All of this is helping me become a better observer of nature. These little, and just noticing, like, look how so many different little shapes there are on these clouds. And, just letting the pencil dance, like, I think this is great because it gives us practice in like, how do I want to move this pencil or pen to emulate these shapes? And this is a great place to experiment. This is not a test, or doesn't need to be an accurate drawing of what you're seeing. You're practicing having your eye look at what's going on. All right, and then just noticing the different textures that are in the sky. So, all right, there we go. There's my continuous line drawing of the sky, and I might splash on some blue where the sky is blue and then leave the clouds, just the white of the paper. All right, we're gonna do another picture here. So sometimes we forget to look up when we're nature journaling, or even just walking through nature. Even if you don't have your journal, I encourage you to look down low by your feet. Look not just at eye level, but beyond what's in front of you. Look just above the eye level. Look where your head is, and then look up at the sky. So this is one of my favorite places. This is nearby where I live in central coastal California. This is a forest of Monterey pine trees, and it's one of my favorite places to go. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to use up this whole page, and I'm going to start getting these lines on the page. I love the way these trees come out, and they have these like interesting little dead little branches. So this one's like got nothing, and we're just going to go and do this shrub, and maybe I'll do this other stick-like tree here. And I'm not going to worry about how it overlaps or bumps in the way. Just, I'm going to practice using my eye to just trace that tree and look at the way these branches come out. You know, and I'm noticing, how come all of these branches are needleless? Did something happen to that tree? And I like, these are like little stair steps that come out this tree. And then I'm just gonna do some squiggles for the clusters because it's too far away for me to see all of the needles. So I'm just gonna do clusters, just squiggles, and then I can add some, shading with my watercolors later, or color pencil, squiggling around. And then just let your eye go to what draws your attention. I'm really drawn to just the way the branches look and these clusters of greens. Maybe I'll go over and I'm going to do this big one over here. And then as I'm doing this line drawing, we encourage our brains to think about, like, gosh, what am I noticing? Well, I'm noticing that there's a lot of deadish branches low, but up high, there's a ton of green stuff up high. And then I might start wondering, well, why is that? And the more that I draw and I observe, the more pieces of the puzzle are going to come together. So practicing these contour drawings, or any kind of drawing, really, like looking at what's in front of you, is going to help you notice more and make more connections. And again, nature journaling is not about the final product. Right? This is really about honing our awareness and our sketching skills and our brains to start noticing things that we may not have noticed in the first place. Like if you and I were walking through this forest, would we have noticed all of these different branches? Or the shapes? Look how different the shapes of these trees are. And I love the way they lean, these long, tall. These trees are probably like 100 feet tall. They're pretty tall in this forest. All right, there's my continuous line drawing of the Monterey pine forest in California, USA. All right, so we've given you a little bit of sketching low, middle, and high. And we're going to really quickly go through, and we're going to go back to Bethan and then Eriko. And we are going to share a couple of different ways that you might, to give you ideas on how to journal. So we're going to stop in a few minutes and do some journaling on our own. But we're going to give you a few ideas of how you might be able to journal this. And so let's go over to Bethan.
Okay. I'm going to share my desktop again. And I'm going to show you this. So this is a page I did yesterday. And it is a chocolate pudding fruit. And so I was focused on this tree, but I wanted to look high and look low. So I was sitting there. It was a really hot day, 33 Celsius. I'm not sure what that is for you guys, but really hot, muggy. And the sky was just so clear. There was no birds. There was no clouds. It was really still and hot. And so I was looking at this tree and I was thinking, okay, like what's interesting about it? And the one thing that I saw, so I was looking high and I saw this, and this is a dragon fruit. And then I went down here, and so there's a little trellis that started with the dragon fruit, and it's just used this tree as its trellis, and it's just poking out here like a little fascinator on the top of the tree. I thought that was so funny. And then I just started going down. I was looking in the middle. There's fruits of different colors. There's these green ones, and there's some of them that are turning yellowy. And then I went up to the tree and I saw this, which was so cool to see. It was these mating insects, and I don't know what they were, but they were joined at the abdomen, and they were very, very still. And they had these wings that had little cutouts. So you can't really see it here, but I could see through the wings to the leaf. That was amazing to see. So that's something I saw in the middle. And then I went down and I had a look at the base of the tree, and it was covered in ants. And I don't know why, but that was a really nice question for my journal. Why are all these ants there? They're so thick with ants that it was black and moving. And then I looked at the actual soil, and it was bare under there. There's no grass or anything. There's some little divots in the soil where the chickens make a dust bath. So that was interesting in the lower thing. And then another one for the middle was the trunk, and it had all these patches of different color. And I'm guessing that it was some sort of lichen, but they were very flat against the trunk. And that was something I noticed. And then I took one of the ripe fruits, and this is a chocolate pudding fruit, and it sounds very delicious, and it's not quite as delectable as the name sounds, but it's pretty good. It tastes a bit like fruitcake. But I wanted to show you this because some time ago, 2018, I tried to do this chocolate pudding fruit, and I had no idea how to get that rich color. And this is my attempt to get the color. And it was actually this journal entry that made me think I need to learn about color theory, because I couldn't capture the leaf and I couldn't capture the depth of color in the fruit. And so I went away and I learned about color theory, and now I can capture the depth of color there, the depth of color in the leaf. And so we can be really deliberate about our learning. Like, I saw a hole in what I knew and didn't know, and I went away and learned that specific thing, and it gave me tools that have taken me to really fun different places. Anyway, that's not relevant really, but I just wanted to show you that because that was the first one and this is the second one. So that's my high and low. Yeah.
That's so amazing. I just want to point out here that Bethan is showing us that no matter where you are in your journey, there's always something that that you can learn, and that it's okay not to know something, right? And that is the inspiration that gets us started into diving into something like color theory. So just know that wherever you are perfect in your process. And the more that you nature journal, the more that we see each other and learn from each other, we can keep going. And just to focus on these pages, as if you're new to journaling, I invite you to look at these pages as something to strive for. Maybe not that comparing yourself to what someone else's page looks like, but what is it about that page that you can harvest, like some little tidbit that you'd like to incorporate in your journal page. So thank you, Bethan. That was really fun. I can't wait to meet the chocolate pudding fruit tree. Eriko, do you have a page that you'd like to share? Okay, Eriko, you're muted right now. Eriko, if you're speaking, we're not able to hear you. So you'll need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I muted. Yeah, sorry.
There we go.
Okay. This is a type of mushroom. It shows up after rain. I don't know the English name. It's ear of tree. Actually, this is lower and middle and high. High. Mm. And my daughter found that it looks like an ear.
Oh, great. I love seeing all the Japanese writing in there.
Yeah, I write down in Japanese.
Eriko, can you show us what is your hand, the drawing of your hand and the green coming out of it?
This one?
Yeah. Are you holding a leaf?
Yes, this is a leaf. Long leaf. Suzuki.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep. Yeah, it has long blades. So I like how you're putting the landscape in there and the close up. Yep.
And my daughter focused on the raindrops on the leaves. And see what's the difference between the leaves.
That's great.
This is what I did yesterday. Rocks. Mostly, my journal is unfinished lately.
Yep. But that's totally okay, right, Eriko? Yeah. And you know, if your pages are unfinished, you can always go back to it when you feel like it, right? And remember that experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Nice. So you're reminding us that when we look low, we can look at rocks too. So look at the geology, the rocks, and the decaying things that are on the ground, as well as looking up at the birds.
And we can see a beautiful fresh green
Mm-hmm.
mountain. So I really like to show you.
Yeah, I love that view. And you know, Erica's just showing us we don't have to put a whole lot of detail into those landscapes, and we can get a sense of what that looks like. That's great.
I love how you've captured the color swatches there of
Yeah.
the whole landscape. It shows a really beautiful overview. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
Great strategy. Thank you, Erica. Are you finished, Erico, for sharing your page? I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then I'm going to share some other different ways. It's kind of fun to see everyone's styles because we all have different ways of approaching nature journaling. Let's see. Are you able to see my document camera? Just thumbs up. Okay. All right. So this is one of my pocket journals when I've gone out. This was oh, the same kind of tree. It was a Monterey pine. You can tell I love these. So I was noticing I looked with binoculars to look at the bark detail. And I noticed that, so this was a high to low, looking at this tree that's probably like 80 feet tall and looking at the detail of the bark up on top with the little boxes like Bethan did, like little zoom ins of the different areas and showing the detail. So that's one way that you can show from top to bottom of one subject. noticing how different the bark gets and describing it with words and showing pictures and cross sections. Another high to low would be just, it doesn't, it could be any nature journal page, but really thinking about when you're out in nature to look in all directions. So here's an orange mushroom and some low plants that were just a few inches above the ground, to looking at the taller trees. And so getting the whole tree. I was saying the younger trees are really bushy, but these older ones, see how I put a little person in there to show how big these older trees are, and that they have sparser branches. So, stepping back and looking at the forest, for the trees is good sometimes. And then today I went out in preparation for this. I actually did 2 pages. So this page ended up being all words. It's my plum tree, and noticing some differences in what's going on in the top of the tree versus the lower branches. And I'm going to put this in later. I love putting a percentage of how much a tree has leaves or how many flowers they have. So I'm going to go out there again later today and see where I am at on the scale from all buds with nothing open to no buds and all the flowers open. So I love kind of this like middle to low ground. I mean, personally, that's the stage that kind of gets me excited. So this particular page, I decided that I would focus on just like boxes of images. I find that creating boxes gives me a space to draw my picture so that I don't have to feel like it takes up the whole page. And I made like little cards. So actually I was going to do 3 little boxes, but what happened is I did like a continuous drawing, and I loved all of the flow of the turkey vulture was flying, the clouds were in the sky. So I ended up making this a long rectangle of looking up at the top branches. And then around eye level, I saw the flowers close up and noticing all of the details. And then the bark was crazy. There are like 6 different colors, maybe even more if I went out and counted, but gray, and the celadon kind of gray green, and a chartreuse bright vibrant green yellow, and orange and brown, and kind of a pinky gray. So it was really cool to see the lichens, all those colors. And so I did a scribble sketch of the whole tree, and then did little boxes to show where this detail box came from. And then down below, I was noticing that this tree has multiple trunks coming up. It's not just one from the base. So I wondered about its history and how it grew. And I noticed that some of the branches or the trunks have been cut off. And at the base, these new leaves were growing. And so I had some questions about, gosh, why are the leaves down at the ground, and why isn't it putting up a branch? And then I thought, I wonder if that's how a branch starts, just with leaves. So as you're doing your observations, you might come up with questions, and we encourage you to just put them on the page wherever you are. And hopefully these pages gave you some inspiration and ideas for how you might want to put your experience on the page. And one of the things that I like to talk about is nature journaling is about your experience in nature, and your experience is 3-dimensional, right? You're seeing, you're touching, smelling, maybe tasting when it's edible. And how do you put all of that, and your feelings, right? How do you put all of that onto a 2-dimensional page? And that's what we do with nature journaling. So when we share our inspiration, when we share how we've drawn something or written something down, we keep getting ideas. So today I got some ideas from Erico and Bethan that's going to enrich my nature journaling practice and help me better record what that full experience is and put onto the page. So I'm going to pop out to the gallery view here and just say that we are going to step away from the computer for about 50 minutes, and we'll come back at, seem to have misplaced my calendar, 20 after. So it is 30 after right now. So 50 minutes, come back, and we'd love to share and learn about your inspiration of where everyone has been journaling. So whatever you choose, it doesn't have to be super fantastically special. actually your common plants could be most interesting because it's different. It's not common for someone who lives somewhere else. So I invite you to go out. If you can go outside, and if you can't go outside, maybe you can journal from memory or pull some photos, or look at your something that's inside your house. And we'll be return in 50 minutes. And if you can't stay, please have a wonderful weekend. Make sure that you check out our calendar. Actually forgot to put that on there. John Muir Laws has a nature journaling community calendar. So you can hop on that calendar. I think maybe Ivea or someone can pop that in there later. So when you come back, you'll have that. So we'll see you back here in 50 minutes. And you can leave your computer on if you want, or you can log off and come back in. All right, Bethan, did you have anything else to say?
No, just to say have fun, and we'll see you soon.